The DC Pro Plus is here. Let's do some movie magic and make everything unbox instantly. Hocus pocus! Corny? Yeah. In this video, we review the Street Guardian SG9663DCPRO Plus, which I'm just gonna call the DC Pro Plus. I'm gonna tell you what I like about this dash cam and what I don't like about it. Full disclosure, Street Guardian provided this dash cam to me for free for review purposes. But as usual, I don't mess around and you're gonna get a balanced review. So join me while I nitpick at this dash cam. Let's hop to it.
A point of clarification, this is the SG9663DCPRO Plus, not to be confused with its similarly named SG9663DCPRO. The Plus version, which is what I'm reviewing, has an updated rear camera with a more compact design and a recessed port, and its front camera has improved components for improved high temperature resistance. I want this dash cam to be hardwired into my vehicle instead of having it plugged into my outlet charger. So let's get the DC Pro Plus installed. You can do this yourself, or you can do what I'm doing and take it to a trusted installer. This is all about imports, and this is Lou Trottier. He builds and fixes cars. His team will be installing my DC Pro Plus dash cam. Street Guardian's package is very complete and gives your installer everything they need to install this dash cam. By the way, Lou has an incredible YouTube channel where he documents his car build process and provides automotive care tips. Check out his channel after you've watched this review video. I'll link it below in the video description. Looks like we're done with the installation here, so let's talk about the DC Pro Plus's features.
The DC Pro Plus is a dual channel dash cam, which means it has both front and rear cameras. This has saved my behind on more than one occasion. You want this in a dash cam, and the DC Pro Plus has it. The DC Pro Plus also has an Exmor-R backside illuminated image sensor. So what the heck does that mean? That means amazing low light capabilities, which is a must for late night driving. And the fact that Street Guardian crammed this technology into a tiny dash cam is really impressive. Street Guardian didn't cheap out on the lens either. The DC Pro Plus dash cam's lens is made out of real glass, not plastic like many of those cheap, sketchy dash cams on the market. Real glass means better clarity and scratch resistance. It provides a crystal clear and wide 127-degree viewing angle, which significantly reduces blind spots. The DC Pro Plus also has a polarizing filter, which reduces glare and reflection on your windshield. Very handy for us city drivers. The DC Pro Plus's lens housing also rotates 90 degrees, which means you can mount it on a vertical windshield, which is common among certain Jeep models, tractor trailers, and military vehicles.
But who are we kidding here? Talk is cheap, so let's look at some sample footage. I did a little something for you guys. I left my old CompuStar dashcam hooked up and ran it alongside the DC Pro Plus. That way, we can do a side-by-side image quality comparison between the DC Pro Plus versus a mid-range dashcam like the CompuStar. You can quickly see how much better the DC Pro Plus's footage is. It is so much more sharp and detailed. And the DC Pro Plus's nighttime footage has a lot less noise. It's so much cleaner. By the way, the DC Pro Plus does have 3 image quality settings, but the difference between them is hardly noticeable. The DC Pro Plus's medium quality setting is more than enough for most users.
The DC Pro Plus also has an optional parking mode function. The dash cam records even when your ignition's turned off, and you don't have to worry about your car battery being drained because it has a low voltage battery cutoff mechanism.
The DC Pro Plus's parking mode has 4 settings: 1 FPS, 2 FPS, 5 FPS, and 30 FPS. 30 frames per second records regular video motion while you're parked, and is the only mode that records sound. That's because the lower FPS modes record parking footage as a time lapse. I personally use the 30 FPS mode because I'm not concerned about my microSD card storage capacity. But if that is a concern to you, you can just use the lower FPS modes.
You'll have to purchase the additional hardware kit to use the parking mode, but I highly recommend it because it is very useful for catching thieves, burglars, and anyone else who damages your vehicle.
But the DC Pro Plus's parking mode with its wide field of view means that I can now see everything, even if I leave my car parked overnight. Just look at this close call in a grocery store parking lot. Oh, it's distressing to watch. They came within a hair of denting my car.
Having the DC Pro Plus allows me to add 24/7 surveillance to the darkest corners of my house. So really, my vehicle has become a security camera that I don't have to pay a monthly fee for. Very important with the recent rise in property crimes in many neighborhoods. One question people have asked me in my other video is, how will this dashcam do in Las Vegas in July? And that's a great question. The DCPRO Plus lens assembly is encased in a heat-resistant metal chassis and is rated to perform in temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius and as high as +70 degrees Celsius. The DCPRO Plus also uses a supercapacitor instead of a lithium-ion battery. This adds to its extreme weather capabilities and protects your SD card from data corruption caused by sudden power disruptions. One thing that I noticed is how much larger the buttons and the display screen are on the DCPRO Plus. I actually complained about this in my review video for the Street Guardian X2 Pro, which had tiny buttons. It's awesome to see how Street Guardian took the feedback seriously and immediately improved their current generation model.
While there are clear improvements, the DCPRO Plus suffers from a problem that has followed every Street Guardian dashcam that I've ever owned: awkward menu navigation. Let me show you what I mean. If you want to enter the menus while the dashcam is recording, you can't just press the menu button once and get into the menus. You need to do a long press of the menu button and wait about 2 to 3 seconds. Otherwise, tapping the menu button while recording doesn't actually do anything. Alternately, you can press the record button once to stop recording, wait 2 to 3 seconds, then press the menu button. But if you get impatient during this process and double punch the menu button, it'll close down the menu after you open it, then you'll have to repeat these steps as you retry getting back into the menu. I'll go several months without ever going into the dashcam's menus. There's no way that I'll remember these button shortcuts, especially if it's in a high-stress situation, like if someone crashes into me. The DCPRO Plus should be set up so when you hit the menu button while it's recording, it just goes into the menu. No weird shortcuts needed. And it's easy to avoid this problem if you just use the Street Guardian smartphone app whenever you need to make any changes in settings.
So if someone crashes into you, you can easily review your footage on your smartphone. Because if you get in a car crash, you don't want to be fiddling around in menus and pushing buttons and squinting to see tiny video thumbnails. This app is a great addition, and it's also free for DCPRO Plus owners.
While the record button is backlit, the other buttons aren't. A completely backlit set of buttons would be a very welcome addition to the DCPRO Plus, since it would make it easier to use in darker areas. So that's it. The Street Guardian SG9663DCPRO Plus improves on an already amazing line of dashcams. It has terrific image quality, a very wide field of view that minimizes blind spots, is easier to use, and even has better build quality. Sure, its buttons still aren't backlit, and the menus are a tad awkward to navigate, but these are minor issues. And the DCPRO Plus's incredible features more than make up for those minor shortfalls.
I highly recommend the Street Guardian SG9663DCPRO Plus. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please tell me which dashcam you're currently using and whether you think Street Guardian's DCPRO Plus is worth considering. Comment below, like, subscribe, and blah, blah, blah. Bye!